Hello, my Ohana. Today is Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025, and I really just want to do a quick video because it has been requested on how I do the Lori Holt applique method. Now, Lori Holt has some wonderful tutorials, much better than this will be, on her YouTube channel. So I encourage you all to go over there and check it out. One of the reasons why I like the Lori Holt method is because of the stabilizer that she utilizes or in her quilting. Now this is sew-in interfacing. It is not fusible. So it will not stick to your fabric or anything else. And what you're going to do is you're simply going to find your applique shape, lay that interfacing down, and I'm just going to do a sample. This is a fish. And you're just going to use a marker of your choice, a marker of your choice. And don't mind the double lines, but you're going to use a marker of your choice. I'm going to say that I am using the air erasing sew line. This only lasts a couple of hours. So if you plan on making your design, going back the next day, those lines might be gone. And you'll have to retrace everything out. Ask me how I know. So anyway, I have actually started on my pieces, and I just love Sunbonnet Sue in overall bill. And the first Sunbonnet Sue I ever made was from a Lori Holt sew along. So I bought the Be Vintage, did the sew along, and I actually have her Sew Simple shapes for the Sew Simple shapes for that kit that I utilize a lot. They're really sturdy. So I use a lot of those shapes for other applique projects. And after you draw your line on your interfacing, you're going to place the drawn side up, the line that is drawn up, and your fabric is going to be facing up. Then you're going to sew around the stitch line or that drawn line. You're going to want to reduce your stitch length on your machine and just sew on the line. Just follow the line along. After that is completed, you're going to take it out, and then you're going to trim anywhere from 1/8 to 1/4 inch around that. Now, for time's sake, I have already stitched on that line. And I just use a pair of scissors. You can use a rotary cutter if you want. And you just cut around it. And then around the corners, I like to reduce bulk. So I'm just going to trim some of that away, because we are going to turn this. Just reducing some bulks. Now, if you were working on a corner piece, such as this fish, you would want to snip not into your seam line, but just a snip, and it just makes that turn a lot nicer, and it will be easier to lay down. Then you're just going to clip just the interfacing. You're going to trim the back, and then you are going to turn it. Turn it all out. Simple enough. And then I prefer to use chopsticks when I'm doing this, only because of the rounded edge. I do have other tools that I can use to turn my applique, but I find that I get overly aggressive and tend to poke out that interfacing and make a hole, and that's not a nice thing. So you're just going to go around, poke anything out. This is going to be going in my husband's quasi quilt of valor. It is quasi because half of the quilt are things that he holds. My husband appreciates about the military and the time he served and his connection with the military. And the other portion is things that I like that connects our lives together. So what we're going to do here from there, and let me just get this. From here, we're just going to iron it out. And what we're trying to do is we do not want that interfacing showing. I'm just going to poke this one out a little bit more. Nice line right there. We do not want that interfacing poking out. We are just going to iron down and get a nice, clean, flat edge. And so from here, you have your completed applique. Now, one of the things I really enjoy about this method, besides it being clean, and you can just do a straight stitch along here, or you can use your satin foot, any type of stitch that you want. I like the idea that you can just do a straight line stitch. It is going to be closed. There is no raw seams, and there's not going to be any fraying when you wash this. So it holds up really, really well in the wash. And if you just have one of those Juki straight line machines, this is perfect for that. You don't have to pull out another machine to get those additional stitches to stitch it down. And then from there you build it out. And I like texture in my quilt, so this is Sunbonnet Sue. You know, I'm just going to kind of play around with it. This is her apron. And I don't like things to be perfect. This is her bonnet. And of course, you're going to be laying this out on your piece of fabric. Now, I have not completed overall bill yet, so I'm not laying this out on the fabric. This is just for a sample. Kind of kick her feet up, and you can place it anywhere you want. These are her little hands. Little hands. There are some additional things I will be putting on it. So again, it's not for the blog. This is just for purpose video, to show you on video. And then you're going to put her hands on there somewhere in any additional items that you are going to want in your block. And here it is. Did not turn it around, but here it is. This is going to be one portion of my Sunbonnet Sue. Overall bill will be coming along shortly. Again, this is the Lori Holt method of applique. When you sew it down, you can put a little glue on the fabric just to keep it in place if you do not want a pin. And that's my preference, is that I just put a little glue stick down to where I want her positioned on my block again. And you can do the same. You can quilt it like this, or you can sew it together like this, leave everything in place and sew it. I have a tendency to go in layers. So once I have that position down, I will sew that, put on the next layer, and so forth and so on, and continue that only because I want to make sure everything is in place. And then I play along with her in position. And the positioning is so you know if you're going to do that layer method, which piece you should sew first. So really easy, really simple. I love this method. If you have any questions, I do have a Discord channel, and we will be having sew days on Thursdays at 3:30 Eastern time. But anybody on Discord can help you. It's a lot of fun, a lot of people on there, many of the people that you know, and you can ask questions or anything else. If you have a question, you can also leave a comment on in the chat, leave a comment in the video, and I will try to answer that as best as possible. So that's it. I hope you all have a blessed day. Be kind, be sweet, be blessed, and keep sewing. Thank you, everybody.